Hello, everyone. Hello. Welcome back to another episode of the After Hours Project podcast. Today we have Srinidhi with us. Srinidhi has a crazy, crazy record. Okay, she was the sports sec. She was the vice captain of the basketball team. She was the lead for Swaranjali dance. And it was, I think, a couple of people. She has like an exemplary CGPA of 9. She got her SI at Nvidia, placement at Google, and she also won the Didi of the campus award when she was passing out. This was recorded a while back. I'm back at home. So I hope you enjoy. She is extremely, extremely humble, extremely kind, and yeah, just an amazing conversation with her. You'll learn a lot, I'm sure. Here's my conversation with Srinidhi. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the After Hours Project podcast. Today, I have Srinidhi with me. She has like an insane resume, if you think about it. She's just one of the most impressive students on campus. She's done amazing things. And today, I want to talk to her about all of that. So basically, the way this came to be is I was talking to one of my friends, and they told me about you, and they were like, okay, if you want to talk to impressive people on campus, she's definitely someone you have to talk to. And I just want to get into all of that. But before that, before I get into all the questions about Suranjali, the basketball team, being the sports sec, NVIDIA internship, Google placement, and like a whole host of other things. I think you also have like a 9 plus CG. Uh, yeah. So like insane. Like it's basically like the work of 2, 3 people on campus together. But yeah, I just being sweet. No, it's actually like really impressive. But before I dive into all the questions, just you're gonna leave campus in a couple of days. How has college life been? What have you been up to?
I think college has been really fun. It has been a mix because I've taken up leadership roles and all. It has been a mix of a lot of learning, a lot of mistakes that were made, but also a lot of good things that have happened. So I really loved the 4 years that I was here. And I'm gonna miss not being here. I don't want the last day of college to come. I just want to be here.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I remember like I had tea with my one of my seniors who was leaving from Frisbee, and he just was talking about like how this was the last tea he would have on campus, and
Yeah.
he didn't get up snacks. But anyways, like how have the 4 years been, like year wise or semester wise? How would you go about it?
For us, I think for me, first year was half of it went in COVID.
Hmm.
So we unfortunately didn't have a first. We had a second semester, but because there were too many calendars and our calendars wouldn't match our seniors' calendars. So when we were free, they had their compres and then they went home. So first year is pretty much a blur because all I had, like my wing was there. That too was random allotment. So I made new friends. So first year was technically just making new friends. And I unfortunately missed their fest then. I wasn't there for their entire fest, which I've heard great things about. Second year was more being present on campus, more active in clubs, Swaranjali, basketball. So I built a bond with both of them, and that became very memorable. So whenever there were fests, they were the best time of the year because you would be with your seniors. And basketball and Swaranjali has some of the best seniors that I have ever met. They're so warm, they're so welcoming. So those days were just amazing. So second year just went off in preparing for fests, preparing for arena, preparing for Pearl. That's all. Third year was a big jump and a big difference from second year because in second year I would still continue dancing outside. I train in Hyderabad, so I would still continue dancing outside. Third year was when I took up the responsibility of being the sports sec. So it showed me that being the sports sec is not just about taking care of the sport, and it showed me how difficult even doing just that is. When I was in my second year and I would see, for example, say the basketball nets are not there, I'd be like, why are these nets not there? When I became this person, I'm like, oh, that's why the nets are not there. So it just gave me like a reality check of the leadership and dealing with the admin, dealing with other captains, and in a way, it also really boosted my confidence. So now I can just I speak up more often. So in that way, it is really an experience, and it feels very nice to see your work come to life and to see people appreciate it. So that way, that was a lot of fun. Third year was like the highlight of college life. Fourth year was more of just senti sem. Every time I see something, I'm like, I might not be able to see this again. I might not be able to do this again. I won't be able to go here again. So it's just ticking bucket lists at this point. Yeah.
Wow, so that's how the college life has been. Wow. I mean, being the sports sec, like how does arena come to be? Like, okay, before I know I'm jumping the gun a bit, but like how does that come to be? Like what are the responsibilities? Like because it's gonna come up next time, like in a couple of months. Like what are the preparations that go into it? Like how do you have to coordinate with everyone? How does that come to be?
So when I was in my second year, for me, arena was just go play
Best.
and come back
Yeah.
and just spend time with the team. And arena is usually in Jan end, Feb beginning. So when I came into my third year, we realized that we had to start preparing from like September itself. So our after movie was launched during Atmos. So we had to prepare that much in advance. And it's not just team captains. While sports is also an important thing, you have to also focus on the departments. All the departments, they'll have their own separate needs. They'll have to send their own budgets. You'll have to curate the budget. Again, arena, the timing is such that you have to finish the GBM before the SEM ends, because otherwise it's too late by the time SEM starts again. And SEM ending, there's a lot of compre and everything going on. So it starts very, very early. You have to start reaching out to colleges. You also have to just, in very layman terms, be a little shameless. You have to just ask for what you need. Maximum someone will say no. So that is one of the biggest learnings. You just ask, whether it's coming to sponsorship, whether it's coming to asking other teams or other captains. Ask. You just have to ask, and you have to put your foot down, basically. So that way, there are also a lot of different things that you have to speak to the admin about the permissions. You have to speak to the other teams about when they're coming. Each of them come at different times. Each of them have different teams. Some people had players in different sports. So you have to ensure those don't clash. There's a lot of, and then for teams that are here, ensure they get water, ensure they're treated well. If someone gets injured, they're getting timely attention. So there's a lot that is going on. Those 4 days were just a blur for me.
So much going on.
So much going on.
Okay, but like, what are some things that we as, let's say, the GB don't see? Because like, okay, we all like kind of have an idea that, okay, you'd be coordinating with a lot of the admin side, a lot of the the sports teams. But like, I think this is one thing that I didn't have a lot of insight into was how other teams coming is like a big hassle, right? What are some other things like that you have to take up as a sports sec, like even starting ahead of time? Like, what are some challenges around that? What did you what was the experience about those things?
I think one of the challenges is that for arena, you'll have to start immediately after Atmos. And the departments have just finished Atmos. They are working through all three phases. So that is something that we need to work around in terms of timing as well. So that was one of the issues that we had to face. When it comes to teams from outside, we usually like have teams coming from other cities as well, and coordinating with them. They usually come one day early or stay a day late. Sometimes they're like major source of income, because the ones in Hyderabad just come for the day and go back. Challenges that people don't usually see, I think in general, uh, what you see, like the sports and just the sports portion is what the GB usually sees and enjoys. But to make that sport happen, there is a lot that goes behind. There's a lot of planning. There's a lot of each, see, we have limited infrastructure also here. So let me take Frisbee only, for example. Frisbee, football, boys football, girls football, everything happens on the same ground. And Frisbee also on the OFG with hockey, it happens at the same time. So you need to ensure that those don't happen at the same time, while also ensuring all of them get a little bit of like prime time, so the audience comes and watches. So all that is also there that goes on behind.
Oh, yeah, the prime time thing is here actually. Like, you'd have to balance a lot of people's wishes. Like, wow. And okay, let's talk about basketball. Like, we're talking about sports. Like, what is that like? You told you had some of the best seniors. Like, what
Yes.
was the basketball experience here?
I remember the first time I had gone to court was with one of my closest friends on the team, Shreya, who was also the captain in third year. So both of us really wanted to be a part of the team because we were very active in school. So we had gone to meet, and this was at the end of our first year. So we had gone to meet our senior who was in her third year ending then. Her name was Sahiti. So we went to her and like, can we please come and play? And at that time, everybody was seniors and we were the only two juniors. So they were like, what will they do? Come play for one day. And that was the only time we ever played with that batch.
Oh, okay.
The entire batch. And then ever since, basketball is like a sense of relief for all of us. So whether it's stressful ACADS or anything else, you come to court, you forget it for 2 hours.
Yeah.
And you just have fun. And I feel like everyone's become a sort of family here. So we all grow together, whether it's academically or basketball. So one practice that we have after practice is that we have this feedback session where everybody speaks about one thing that they really liked about practice and one thing that maybe could have been better. So that is how we have been improving day by day. And obviously winning so many trophies just makes the bond stronger.
I mean, you guys win a lot of trophies, I think.
Yeah.
But how often is your practice? Like, how hectic is it? How do you balance it?
It's usually when there's no mid-sems or fest or anything, we have every day 2 hours.
Every day.
Practice. Monday to Friday, 2 hours of practice. That is every day. Yeah, which has like a mix of both warm-up and
Game.
then game. Yeah.
No, but okay. So Himangi was like when I was in my first year, she was a third year senior. So she was telling me that like when we had our warm, she was like, "This is nothing. You guys don't do any warm up in frisbee. Like we at basketball, like we have an insane warm up. Like what is that like? Why was that so such a crucial part of your team's experience? Like
Yeah, because the every time we played like difficult matches, we noticed that one place where we always lack is stamina. We have good stamina, but then the teams that we play against are all sports colleges who do this on a daily basis for like hours and hours together. So one thing that we had to work on was our stamina and our speed. So that's why warm up becomes extremely important. So we start with say when I was the vice captain then, we used to do 15 rounds of jogging around our court, and then we used to do something called suicides, which is basically it's also called German drill, I think. So you section the court into six, and then you just have to keep touching that and come back. So that's like a lot of extra rounds, and you're not jogging, you're running.
sprints.
Yeah, sprints. And then you do sprints also, alag se. It is not just this. You do sprints, and then with the ball, you start running, you do layups,
Wow.
and then their defense drills. And then sometimes just to, how many times we'll keep doing layups. So what sometimes we do is one person has to run to get layup, and the other one has to run faster than that person to stop that person. So that's like extra running. Once that is done, we start doing defense drills or say passing drills, which is again more running. So by the end of practice, by the end of warm up, we are done. But because the captain comes and says, let's play match, everybody gets up, everybody has energy.
No, that's something actually like you and I have seen. So like because we don't have that much time to practice because we're in like a hectic engineering college.
Right.
Like, but I think what do you think are the advantages of still having that? Like, because when we go and play, like you guys still win a lot of trophies. What do you think is that X factor that you guys have that makes you win so many trophies, even going against these sports colleges?
I think one key is practice, of course, because we meet 5 times a week. So that really makes a difference. And like I mentioned, feedback. Every day we give feedback to each other to help us grow. And whenever someone's like say struggling with a particular drill, whoever is good at that drill always goes and helps them. And every day we're just trying to figure out what went wrong, how to make it better. And the next day our main focus is to make that thing better.
Okay.
So that way it just keeps improving. So even when you have drills in warm up, every day won't be the same. On some days, maybe you'll do more defense drills. Some days, maybe you'll do more shooting drills. Some days, it's more passing. So it's more like holistic growth. Yeah. And our team also, the entire team is someone who, if you call them to court, they'll come to court.
Wow.
Even if they have quizzes tomorrow, quizzes day after, that is also one thing that we do on court. That whoever the captain and vice captain, if you have a quiz tomorrow, study early, come for practice.
How did you guys make that happen? Because I remember in my first year we used to do that, but like I've seen that the next batches we're having some trouble doing that with our like juniors.
I think once you let them go for like the first quiz,
Hmm.
because that's their first ever quiz, and then you say, from next quiz, I want you guys here on time, we don't care. They start showing up. A little bit, thoda, you have to scare them. You start with a little bit scaring, and then you become family.
Fair enough. I think we got to do more of that. I think. No, but like, do you remember any like specific tournament that you really enjoyed? Like, what was your first tournament as a team?
I think my first ever tournament was Arena with the team. That is in my second year. And we actually had a few of the senior captains who I had never met. So they had already passed out by the time I had come. And they had also come to watch the match.
Yeah.
And when we were playing, after we played, we beat Bits Goa in one of those matches. That's what they came and watched. And I distinctly remember Bits Goa because Bits Goa is one of the biggest contingents that comes.
Yeah.
So they have a nice fan base. We also have a fan base. So sledging goes both ways. So that was the most fun game that we've played. And then after that, the captain had come and she had praised both Shreya and me because we were the youngest lot. Said, you guys play really well. And I'm like, oh my God, thank you. Yeah, so there are some people that I really look up to in basketball. If they say you played well, it means you played well.
I mean, like
Yeah.
you did the seniors validation.
Yes.
Did you try to be that for your juniors? Like, what did you pick up from like your seniors about leadership? Because you were the vice captain. So like, what were some qualities that you try to replicate, or some things that you want to avoid doing, things like that?
Both Shreya and me actually, when we came to court, our main goal was to create a family, to create a space where it's not just basketball, but if you need us for anything else, we're always here. And I think what also worked out for us is we went on a lot more tournaments last year than we ever went before. And we went on my first outstation was IIM Indore. So we went there as well. And I think outstation tournaments just have a different effect because you travel in that train together, you sleep in the same common room. So it just made our bond grow much stronger. So that was something we really wanted to do, was to create a family. So the juniors are free enough to express themselves. They're not scared of us. But they also have this respect for us. I can't say anything in front of them. So I think that balance also is a little difficult to maintain.
Yeah.
But I somehow we managed it. From our seniors, I feel both the captains that I've played under, both of them were very strict on coming to practice. You have to show up to court if you want to play. That is again very important. And they also gave a lot of importance to training as much as games. We are very tempted to be like, let's play game today. But they are like, no, we will start with this. You won't realize when you're doing it. When you're doing it, you'll be like, why are we doing this? We can just play. But when you actually play a match or something, it shows when you train that way. So that is something we tried to get into during our time.
I mean, and maybe close off the basketball segment. But like, where do you want the team to go? What advice do you have for your juniors? Like, or let's say any sports team for that matter of fact, based on what you've learned from basketball. Where do you want them to go?
I think the team right now, basketball team at least, is really good. The juniors are amazing this year. So I know that they will do wonders, and it's only going up from here. An advice that I give to all teams is, I know that like you mentioned, we're primarily an engineering college with more focus on like tech and acads. But I'd still say keep giving time to the sport. That sport, it teaches you a lot. Like it teaches you, like for me, it taught me leadership. It taught me time management. It taught me teamwork as well. So it really gives you a lot. And even if you're not expecting to like win trophies or anything, it's just really fun to be there. And you will realize when you don't play the sport for a long time that you actually need that sport to have that balance in your day. So I'd say don't quit the sport at all. Just keep playing. Sometimes it will get tough. Sometimes you will want to quit, but just keep going at it. And the friends that you make in the team is obviously a very, very important plus point.
I think the friendships you make through sports are like some of the strongest.
Yeah.
And sorry, I told you I'll close it, but like I have one question. Because you mentioned BITS Goa. Like BITS Goa is like our worthy rival for Frisbee team. Like that's the team we have to go and beat BITS Goa.
Yeah.
Like what is that for you guys? Is there like a team that if we have to go play them, we beat them? Like this is our worthy rival.
Actually, there are quite a few teams that are that way. I think one example was the last time we played Arena, we had lost to St. Francis, which was by a very small margin, and we had lost on home court. So we were all like, no, and it was very close. We could have easily won. So since then, we were like, we have to beat St. Francis. We have to beat St. Francis. And then we had gone for a tournament, which is a district league. So it didn't even have to be colleges. They were all like sports clubs. And there our first match was with St. Francis, and we beat them there. So that was like our biggest ever. Yeah.
I mean, I can imagine the celebration of that.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Okay, let's talk about Swaranjali maybe. I'll come to like the other things as well. I want to talk about these things first. But like, how was Swaranjali? Like, what were the seniors there? What was your role in Swaranjali?
For me, I have been learning Bharatnatyam since I was 7.
No, okay.
So my mom is a Bharatnatyam dancer, and now she's teaching. And I went to learn under the same guru that she learned under. So I started learning when I was 7 years old. And in the beginning, I was not really that good. But I think slowly with practice and everything, I got better and I started liking the art more and more. And in school, I got a few opportunities. So I knew when I came to college, and like I knew that there are fests happening and people. I already went onto Swaranjali's YouTube channel, saw all their performances. I'm like, I have to join this club, which was my first criterion of coming to college was basketball club, Swaranjali.
Okay.
I have to join these two the minute I enter college. So when I came to Swaranjali, at that time the dance head was Samyu, who's one of my favorite seniors on campus. And yeah, since then I have worked for almost all the fests I have performed. And it's always different because in Swaranjali, because it's a classical dance, like the part that I'm working on is Bharatnatyam. And it's not something that a college audience usually sees.
Yeah.
So we have to find that balance between maintaining the dignity of the art and also ensuring that audience has something to connect as well. So I remember for Arena, one time we had choreographed to Breathless, which is a very popular song, so the audience can connect. We had done Vered Holna, which was a collab with Swaranjali Music. So I think that creative process is also something very interesting to me.
Yeah.
Because it's pushing boundaries. It's not just taking a class Carnatic item and performing. So that was one of my favorite parts of Swaranjali. I was the Swaranjali dance head.
The dancer.
When I was in my second year, I was the dance head along with Antara, who was a brilliant Kathak dancer. Yeah.
I mean, you've just been in leadership positions, like basically, I mean, you get to. Why do you think that is? Like, I mean, I don't know, it's like more of an introspective question, but sure.
I think I just like taking up leadership positions because I think it just allows me to be more creative and like put my creativity into action. It's just easier. And I think, I don't know, I think leadership positions have always just been like, I've just been drawn to leadership positions. Even in school, I was the deputy sports girl. Yeah, deputy sports girl. Yeah. Deputy, I forgot what it's called. Deputy sports head? I think so. One of those. Yeah, it's been a while. So it's just, I've always loved taking up leadership roles. Like, I also played inline hockey much before.
Huh.
I started off skating actually. Basketball came after skating.
Yeah.
So there, inline hockey also, it was just bringing a team together and like ensuring that together. I just like the leadership role. I don't think there's a specific reason to it.
Just come up.
Been drawn to it. Yeah.
Well, like, do you have to give up sports and music during your learning? But was that something you like did, or were you able to balance it as well?
For me, COVID hit in 12th.
Ah.
So there was no balancing to do because there's no basketball. Dance is also online. Everything is at home. In 11th, no, I didn't have to leave it. 11th was actually my the busiest year that I've had. It was the time when I had actually represented India for inline hockey.
Wow, really?
Yeah. So it was after my 10th boards we had gone and I got the results of my selection and 10th boards on the same day. Yeah, I still remember 5th May.
Wow.
Same day I had gotten both the results. And I had missed like 2 months of school because I was in Spain.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, that must have been a crazy experience.
Yes, it was an amazing experience.
But like my school had this as well. I don't know how many schools have like skating hockey as a sport. But like, what is it? I mean, I didn't know about this, but like, tell me a little bit about that. Like, I'm interested.
Skating hockey, yeah, isn't popular in school.
Yeah.
So there are basically two kinds based on the skates that you have. So there's inline, which is the 4 wheels in one line, and there's quads, which is the 4 wheels like a box.
Yeah.
So inline hockey is actually very similar to ice hockey, but it's just played on regular skates. And it's supposed to be one of the most violent sports because there are no fouls in inline hockey. Yeah, you have to, there's padding for everything. There's a chest guard, elbow guards, gloves, helmet, everything. There are no fouls. You can push them out of the rink. You can do whatever you want. As long as you're not fighting with the other person, there are no fouls.
Wow. That's great.
Yeah. Nothing stops also unless like what we play with is called a puck, which is like a disc. So unless the goalkeeper has like held the disc, there's no stopping the game. It just keeps going.
Keeps going.
Keeps going.
Like, what was like one of the toughest matches you had there? Like, were any of these other teams very aggressive or something with that?
Aggressive, no. I think going for internationals was a very humbling experience because India right now is not does not take inline hockey as a mainstream sport, right? But in other like especially Canada, US and all, because ice hockey is such a rage there, even inline hockey is really famous. So when we go and watch them, they do some amazing things that you won't even be able to do if you're wearing like shoes.
Wow, really?
They do those on skates. Yeah, so it was a very humbling experience, but it was really fun to watch. And there's this tradition that happens where you exchange something from each other's countries. It's usually just friendship bands or something. But it's also like a way for people to communicate within that community. And they're like from different countries, not even states, they're from different countries. So even that experience is really nice. And the infrastructure there is amazing. They have like proper rinks. We had a changing room. We had a proper green room. Not a green room, but like a changing room with showers. We were all just awestruck. Like, whoa, it was amazing.
Oh, I mean, that is crazy. You've just been like amazing.
But I think the best part would have to be every time before a match starts, they play the Indian national anthem. and like you can see the flag, and you just swell up with pride, like, yes, I'm doing this. Yeah, I think that has to be the best part of the
Yeah,
entire.
I remember that distinctly. Like,
Yeah.
that's amazing. Okay, coming back to Swarajyoti, I think. But okay, so you performed for a bunch of things. You were the dance head. So how was that experience? Like, like how do you lead a bunch of creatives? How does choreographing in college work? Because I'm not sure if you choreographed a lot before or you led a lot of people before for dance. Like, how was that like?
I think in Swaranjali it's a little different because you have to also cater to different art forms. Like it's not just Bharatnatyam, there's also Kathak, there's also Kuchipudi. So usually what we try to do is try and bring in, like Bharatnatyam and Kuchipudi are slightly more similar. So we try to mix both the steps. So a few people who want to take up initiative for Kuchipudi, Samya was a Kuchipudi dancer.
Yeah.
So a few people who want to take initiative for Kuchipudi, we sit together, we listen to the music multiple times, and usually it just strikes that okay, this music with this step works. So we just mix and match that way and we choreograph.
So you do it like with a bunch of people.
Yeah. It's usually sometimes when we don't have time, we do it on our own. But usually everybody is there during the process so that if anybody has any ideas, shoot and we use it.
That's amazing. Sounds like a very collaborative environment. Okay. Anyways, one more thing. So I was talking to people. Okay, so like I was telling you, Atmos, I had like 5 things in like 2-3 days. So okay, who are you going to talk to next? And I mentioned that I was going to talk to you, and I told everything that you did, right? And they're like, how does she manage to do so much? So that's the question, basically. Like, how do you manage a cans like having like such a high CG, getting like the insane internships and placements, sports, like your leadership positions, Swaranjali, like there's so many things. Like, how does one even do all of that?
I think for me, a big role was the role my parents and grandparents played as well. So when I used to do all this, my grandfather would be the one who would take me to basketball class and then bring me back and then take me to dance class right up. They would never be like, you're already going to this class. Why do you want to go here also? So, and they were the ones who pushed me to get into most of this actually. Dance, my mom pushed me into, and skating, my dad pushed me into. So they were the ones who they do not let me quit. They're like, you will love it. You go. And it turns out it's true. I do love it now. So I think from school itself, I have been, like my parents would take me everywhere, bring me back. So I've somehow been able to manage it from school itself. So in college, it was like, same thing again. Yeah.
Oh, like college is so hectic. Like, you're in Phoenix as well, right? Like, Phoenix, anyways, people are like, okay, you have to study all the time. Like, how do you, like, I'm still like awestruck by how you managed everything.
For me, dance was mainly usually like Swaranjali and basketball on campus, so does not clash.
Yeah.
Because Swaranjali most active is during fests.
Yeah.
So it usually does not clash. When it comes to dancing at home, it's usually on the weekends.
Yeah.
So there is this running joke in whichever club I am that weekends you will not see her. Weekends she will be at home because I'll have practice there.
Yeah.
So and when it comes to arcades, I feel like Phoenix is one, at least Triple E for me. If I attended the class, more or less my studying is done there.
Uh-huh.
I'll grasp that way. So if someone's saying something to me, I'll learn it much faster. So that way I didn't have to put in too much work before compy or something of that sort also. And it was just, at least from my second year, it was just little bit of consistent effort. Like maybe say an hour a day or like a few hours a week. So when you start doing that,
That's
compre and midsem is not as huge.
yeah. And so,
No,
like, did you
that's
have
true.
like a very high percentage of classes attended? Like, did you go to almost all the classes?
Yeah.
I mean, I think that really helps out.
Whenever I'm here, I go to classes.
It's perfect.
Yeah.
I mean, and like still having the flexibility of zero attendance, I think that really helps probably with your other stuff. Like,
Yeah.
you have to go for a tournament, they won't like penalize you or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's say, okay, talk about NVIDIA and Google a bit. Okay, how does that happen? Like, how does one go and land an internship at NVIDIA first and then at Google? What is that process like? How did you prepare for it? How does anyone prepare for it? Like just
Yeah.
for that.
I think during summer internships, at least
Mhm.
for hardware, I don't know about software, but at least for hardware, most of it is what you've been taught. So majority, if it's a digital domain, base major is digital design. That's what they ask. So when it comes to summer internship, initially I was extremely clueless as to what I have to do. So I went up and looked at those summer internship chronicles. Most of them said DD, computer programming. So that's what I did.
Yeah.
So that's what I did. And then during the internships, again, I spoke about the extracurriculars. And one major thing during your interviews is to communicate properly. It is fine if you don't know the answer. Just explain what is going on in your head to your interviewer. Because if you're silent, he will think you don't know anything. If he asks you a question, you don't know the answer to it, but you're trying to figure it out, tell him how you're trying to figure it out. So at least he knows what's going on in your head. And then sometimes they'll give you a hint saying, I think you're going in the wrong direction or you're going in the right direction. Think of it this way.
Yeah.
So just keep communicating. That helps a lot during interviews. During the tests, at least for hardware, it's mostly just what is covered in college.
So it's like that much.
Mostly what's covered in college. You obviously have to practice some of the more difficult questions, but otherwise it's what's covered in college.
So like, so I called Topic Keshav. We got his essay at Uber. Like he was saying that there's like this thing he followed for like all the lead code questions essentially. Like, is there a parallel for that for hardware as well?
No.
Just whatever is studied in courses should be.
The concepts is what is studied in the courses only. You can like use GATE resources to figure out the more difficult problems.
That's how it
Yeah.
happens.
I think computers is not a BSA, at least for summer internships. And coding itself is very vast and like anything is possible. But for us, it's usually, at least for SI, they don't expect you to know Verilog. For placements, they do, a little bit at least. But for SI, they don't expect you to know Verilog. They just need your fundamentals to be clear and for you to communicate properly and for you to be having the willingness to learn.
Yeah.
They will teach the rest.
That's all, no?
They will teach you because they just want students who are eager to learn and will learn quickly.
Yeah.
So that they can, because from what I've seen in the internship, corporate is completely different from what you've learned. You have to learn a lot of new things, and another thing is you won't get that information. You have to search for it. You have to go through multiple websites and you have to search for it. So corporate is going to be a completely different experience. Nothing in college can prepare you for corporate.
What were like some of the? Did you do any projects in college, like under some professors or something like that?
Yes, I have got 2 projects. One was under Harish sir, and one was under SK Sahu.
Okay. And what were those?
So the one that I did under SK Sahu, the one that I did under Harish sir was more towards the research area. So I'll talk about what I did with Sahu sir. It was basically an OFDM system, which is used as a transmission system, and we had to basically code for it in Verilog.
That was already.
Yeah.
That's where you picked up Verilog as well for your placement.
Yeah.
And okay, so how does the placement cycle work for the hardware engineering? Because I think a lot of people know the software side of things. A lot of people are talking about that, but like I only know about Advika Di. She's also a Frisbee senior. He's in Google now, the hardware only. But like that's the only person other than you that I know who ended up in a hardware role like that. So like, how do you prepare for that? Is that again the same as ACADS, or is there anything else that you need to do for that?
It is the same as ACADS more or less.
Yeah.
Like the base concepts is again the same, but again for analog electronics, like if you want to go into that side, you will have to be a little stronger in your concepts because analog is really vast. There's a lot of different things happening, so that way you have to prepare more on that side.
Yeah.
You need to be strong with Python. Python is a must, and you need to be strong with Verilog. Python or any programming language, and you need to be strong with Verilog. Majorly, it is that.
That much only.
Yeah, that is assuming you are very clear on your ACAD concepts.
I mean, I think one of the things it seems to me is that you make it sound like very simple, but it's like straightforward, but it's not simple, right? Getting all of those done.
I think the advantage for me is, both DD and Compark were taught by Gurunarayan sir, who is a professor who not just teaches, but he also gives you the intuition behind it. Like he starts somewhere and then he says, that is why we're doing this. So I think that helped me remember and understand the applications as well. So I think that is why I'm saying it this way, maybe. But yeah, his teaching is what made me like the subject in the first place. I used to love DD.
Yeah. Oh my god. Like I had so many friends be like, oh my god, I have a DD payment. Like,
yeah. DD used to be my favorite.
Wow. That is, I think that is some of the things I picked up as well, that it doesn't matter what course it is. If the professor is really good, you will enjoy it.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yes.
Anyways, like, let's say, I think, again, same thing. I talk about a lot of people that, I'm going to have a conversation with you. Let's say someone's in first year, right? And they want to do something like you have done, like explore a bunch of things on campus. What is your advice to them? How do you balance stuff? How do you, get into a lot of the positions on, let's say, even leadership positions on campus specifically?
For me, at least, I was just going with the flow. Most of my college life was just going with the flow. I didn't have a particular plan. But I'd say in your first year, try out whatever you want to try out. Don't be like it'll get too hectic. Unless you're a dualite. If you're a dualite, it's different. If you're dualite, do it in your second year. But just don't think of the fact that you won't be able to manage everything. If you're interested in something and you think you might like it, go for it. Whether it's tech, whether it's sports, whether it's cultural, just go for it. After that, if you get inducted and you have too many clubs, after that you can decide, you can prioritize and you can decide. I think for me also, like whenever an opportunity was given to me in college, I just said yes.
Yeah.
Think about it later, but say yes because it will teach you something new. So even Dan said initially I was a little skeptical, but then I was like, yes, we will figure out.
But yeah.
Yeah, we will figure it out.
Wow.
So just say yes to everything anything that you want to do, say yes. And then if you're maybe like it's not what you thought it will be or something, you can always try something else.
Yeah.
But that is something you can only do in your first year or like second year, first sem. Once you go beyond that, clubs also don't recruit like third year rides and they don't induct third year rides. So do that in your first year.
That's the best
Yeah.
chance you have.
Yeah. And I think I'd say like try something from all the fields. Like not just clubs, but also try to get into departments because they teach you a lot of what happens behind a fest.
Yeah.
And that is also a completely new experience. So if possible, try those as well. Like,
So clubs, departments, and academies, like
Yeah.
balance of like Okay, good. Lot of accomplishments on campus. What next? Like I have some like other things before like I close. But like what's next? Where do you want to go? What's gonna come up in the let's say next 3-5 years?
Like I said, I just go with the flow. So I have not had a particular plan. I do know I want to stay in the digital industry. I'm more inclined towards digital domain. So I want to stay in that digital industry. But I also want to continue dancing, continue basketball if possible. Because those have been equally important in me doing well in acads. Like I said, it's stress relief. It's just fun. Yeah, so I would want to manage both. And I will go and study again. Like I will do my higher studies again. Where, when, what, I don't know yet. But I will do it.
You'll do it.
Yeah.
Okay. So sorry, I kind of lost my train of thought. But sorry, yeah. So what are you doing at Google? Like what is your team going to be? You said in digital something.
They haven't told us our team yet.
They haven't told you. What did you do at Nvidia then? Like what was those two? I think I read or I kind of read through your LinkedIn because I didn't know you before. So what is the ACIS team? What does that do at Nvidia?
I was a part of the CPU verification team. So I had to basically write a test case for one of their chips. So I had to integrate 2 test cases to ensure that one test case does the job.
Of everything.
Yeah.
That was 2 months. Like what did you learn? Like what was like some shock that you were like, okay, wow, this is very different. You said the corporate and college are very different. What made you realize that?
I think one main thing is in college, I know we keep complaining about it, but they're like quizzes, they're assignments, and that keeps you in track in a way. Like you have an assignment or you have a quiz, you study at least that much before the quiz. Corporate won't have anything like that. There are timelines, but it's on you to do it. Everything, it's on you. You need to be incredibly self-motivated to be doing it. Like there is no class you can go to. There is nothing. And I think another thing in corporate is you need to be free to approach any of your mentors. Even if someone's not your mentor but willing to help, you should go and approach them if you have a question. So that is also very different. So I had to learn a different software which had no YouTube video.
Yeah. It's probably like an internal thing that they're
No, I mean it is a proper software. It's called Wordy. It's a simulation software. But there is no like YouTube video that will teach you A to Z of how to do this. So you have to figure it out as you go. Or you have to ask one of the senior employees there, how do you do this? You just need to be open to asking. You should not feel shy. That is something I realized a little late into my internship. But you should, from day one, if you have a question, immediately go and ask. Don't, when you're an intern at least, don't think they'll think that I'm stupid for asking this question. They'll be like, you don't know this also. Don't think of that at all. Go and ask them because at least at least you know the answer to it now instead of wasting your time thinking about what they are thinking of you.
correct.
Yeah.
So that's your advice for the interns. Like just go first day or whatever. Whenever you have any questions, don't think.
Whenever you have any questions, immediately ask them about those questions. Communicate effectively with your mentor. That is very important. If not mentor, just communicate with a lot of people at NVIDIA, even if they're not in your project. Not just NVIDIA, sorry, any company, even if they're not in your project, just communicate with them, ask them about their field of work, get to know more about the company, get to know more about how they got to where they are, and just ask a lot of questions in your internship.
They're using network well, is it?
Network well.
And one thing that actually Keshav also mentioned was he talked to like some seniors before he had all of his Uber interviews and other things like that. Did you talk to seniors as well? And how do you find them if you did?
Um, at NVIDIA, actually, I met a senior while I was doing the internship, so I did speak to them. In general, all the seniors are extremely approachable. You can ask them any questions. Like I had spoken to Kota Bhaiya there. He passed out now. Uh, but yeah, they just help very well. And because they're also Bitsians, they've been through the same experience that you have. They're very helpful
Right.
and they're very friendly.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that I think in the first year you kind of have hesitation to approach seniors or something.
Yeah.
I think that has to be like something people curb on. But anyways, like how would you want, like let's say, I know it's like more of like an introspective question again, but like how would you want people to remember your like role on campus? Like what do you want them to take away? Like as juniors, let's say, well, like okay, how do they remember Shri ki? Oh, this is what she did.
Okay, that's actually a good question. Uh, how do I want to be remembered?
Yeah.
I feel like the entire college life, at least, I've just tried to speak to as many people as possible and try to be as helpful as possible. So I do want to be remembered as someone like, if I know them personally, like, oh yeah, she, for Swaranjali, for example, maybe I want them to remember me by the practices that we had together because that was a bonding session for all of us. For the basketball team, I want them to remember me not because I was their vice captain, but because I was their team member. So like I want them to remember the small, the small incidents that happened and not just, oh, she did this, she did this, she did this. That's why I know her. I want them to know me because of something personal that happened. In that sense, yeah.
That's a nice thought. Okay, some more actionable questions now. Um, cool. So about time management again, like do you stick to like a calendar or something like that helps you manage all of those things, or is it just again whatever's coming up next, you just take that and go for it?
I am someone who puts a lot of timetables, but more often than not, I'm not able to keep track because they're very ambitious timetables. But I think at least the timetable keeps you in check that you have to do all this. So at least you're there. Like you know what all you have to do. If you're lagging behind, you know how much you have to cover up.
Yeah.
So yeah, that way.
That's one.
You can have a vague calendar.
Ah,
Don't be too strict about it and don't beat yourself up if you're not able to keep up to your calendar.
that's something you've picked up.
Yeah.
I think flexibility in calendars is something that is
Yes.
appreciated.
I make a to-do list more than a calendar. Like today I need to do these things.
Hmm.
That gives you the flexibility of doing whatever whenever also.
That's true. I think that's one of the things that like has worked for me as well, because like sometimes your friends come up and they're like, "Shall
Yeah.
we do something?" And then if you have a strict calendar, you kind of get behind.
Yeah.
What about like landing internships that are good? Like one thing is mentioned that I think is really helpful is you told about just being very vocal in your interviews. Anything else that, like, let's say first or second year it has to do to land a good hardware internship later on?
The test portion I've already spoken about. Just be thorough in your fundamentals. Apart from that, it's just test and interview. Hardware internships are usually the only issue when it comes to hardware internships is very few companies come for the internship. Like when I was giving my essay, there were 2 companies that came.
Okay.
Texas and NVIDIA.
Yeah.
So, and one more major thing for hardware is if you don't get an internship, don't get upset about it. It is fine. There are like 2-3 companies that are coming. It is fine. You can still get it in your, you have your PS2, which is like a huge internship and a lot of companies come.
Yeah.
And you have further placements also. So don't get disheartened if you don't get a summer internship.
And your PS2 is there?
My PS2 is at Renesas.
What does that company do?
It is also an electronics company.
Electronics one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know much about like the hardware side of things. So, anyways, okay, like you were in a lot of leadership positions, right? What would you advise the current leaders in those positions? Like, what did you pick up on too late, or maybe you think, okay, this is something that I should have done differently? Because you seem like someone who would have those kind of thoughts. Like you would look back there and I could have done something differently here.
I think one thing, at least for the from my tenure as the sports secretary is that it is never too early. It is never too early. You can think, okay, 3 months are left. No, by the time you blink, there'll be 3 days left. It is never too early. If you can start something, immediately start it. That is one thing. Secondly, always take the opinion of the people you're working with. You can choose to like listen to it or do the opposite, but at least listen to their opinion because they have some valid points to share sometimes. And it's also important to ensure that all of their, like, when you're working in a leadership position, the people you're working with are also leaders somewhere else. So it's also important to ensure that their needs are met so that they can also perform to their to the level that they're expecting and we want them to. So that is also extremely important. Yeah, at least from SportsSec, I realized that you need to ensure that your sports captains are happy and you need to do everything in your power. Sometimes things don't go your way, it's fine. You need to try everything to ensure that they get what they want.
So like keeping everyone else happy
Yeah,
at a major.
like when Siddhant had come to me for, you guys went for Frisbee Nationals last year to Goa, I think.
Correct.
So when he had come, we had tried everything to get makeups, to get funding. We had tried everything. It's important to try.
Yeah.
Try everything that you possibly can. If it doesn't work, can't do anything. But if it works, then it's good. So
No, I think like, that's one thing. One of the other things, right? I think you guys were quite helpful with all of the things, especially with respect to frisbee. I think because I think again it's a niche sport, not a lot of people, but still like we got things done.
I think for me, it was like every sport is equal. It doesn't matter which sports. It is not like because I play basketball, I only help them or something. It is like every sport is equal. If any sport needs help, that is why I'm the sports secretary. So that I can help you guys reach and like win more and like have more fun and get more people to come and play the sport. Which is my main agenda because sport has given me a lot. So I was like, I need to give back to sport now. This is the time.
Oh, that's an amazing thought. No, but like, did you have like those times, like something like couple of things don't go your way, like you just don't feel as motivated, or were you like someone who just go always and not look back if something goes wrong?
That does happen sometimes when things don't go your way. But I think in the end, somehow everything works out. You will feel a little disheartened then, but you have to like forget about it and move on to the other aspects so that those things work out.
Yeah.
There will be things that don't go your way. Obviously, you will have some plans. Sometimes the plans don't go. You have to have a backup, or you should have a different way, or there should be a solution to the problem that you're facing. There will be. You just have to find it.
We just have to find it.
Yeah.
Okay. Like, especially within teams, one thing is there's a senior junior dynamic, right? So how do you build that? How do you build the next group of captains, right? So like for us, let's say we are now, I'll be my 3-2, right? And we are thinking about, okay, who can we kind of prepare to be the next captain? The people, obviously there are some people who want to do it,
Right.
and then how do you nurture them essentially? Like what did you feel about that as a vice captain of basketball team?
So when we did that during the end of our tenure as captain and vice captain, whoever was interested in being the next captain or vice captain, we started giving them practices. Take practice today. Both of you take practice, or both of you like different combinations. You guys take practice, and we'd see how they're taking practice.
Yeah.
And based on that, and based on their dynamic with the team, like I said, being a captain, it's important to be the leader, but also be the friend.
Yeah.
You have to be both at the same time. So we saw how each of their dynamic was, and then we made a decision. And even now, if whenever we go for practice, if we feel like there is something that has to be done differently or something, we tell them. And that's what, like, we have this relationship where we can give constructive feedback. They give us constructive feedback. So that is something very healthy that is supposed to be there in teams. And I think just when you are the captain and you're looking for the next captain, just start giving them a little more responsibility. It can be anything, like maybe when you're going for some match or when it's a friendly match, let them coordinate the entire friendly match. Let them be the POC. That actually gives them it also gives them a taste of what it is to be the captain. So that they know it's going to be this, but like 3 times, 4 times more. Yeah.
True. I think like that is one dynamic that is difficult to get right though. The leadership versus a friend thing, because you have to make like tough calls sometimes, I'm guessing. And those like, because you have the other like friendships, it might be difficult to do that. Like anything around that that has happened, like because you can only have certain set number of players that you can take. Have you had like a conversation with someone who you couldn't take? Because that's something that happens in the sports team generally.
Yes, we have had such conversations, but again, like I mentioned, important thing is to continue playing because you will only improve over time, and when you improve, we will take you into the next team. Obviously, we have some limitations, which is why we are not able to take up. If I had the option, I would have taken the entire team.
Yeah.
So and I think another big part is that arena, you have team A, team B, so everybody gets a chance to play. So that is also motivation. To just work hard in arena, you can prove yourself.
See.
There's always at least arena here.
Arena to
So that is also helps to help people stay on track and keep coming.
True. Arena, I think that's one of the other things. Arena has been like a constant thing where you can motivate your juniors to keep playing. Okay, anyways, I think some closing thoughts because I think even people will start coming to the room. Right. So across all the things that you've done, what is again like some advice that maybe we haven't talked about, but something I think you think that we should talk about? Let's say from acads to internships, Swaranjali, basketball, sports secretary, like across all of those domains individually, what do you think is an advice for some juniors that could be helpful? And just experiences, stories, anything like that, just across everything. Like let's say, what about acads? Like how do you get like a good CG? Like simple things that you can do. So you said just keep going, just be regular to classes.
I think that works for some people, that doesn't for some. For me, it works because I have a very visual memory. So for me, attending the classes, listening to them works. For some people, it might not work. It's completely fine. I'd say be consistent because by the time midsummer comp becomes, the syllabus becomes a lot, and then you have other things, other events that you've had before, say Sanskriti or Atmos or Arena, whatever. So I'd just say be consistent. Put in a little bit of effort every day. Or every week, whatever your schedule is, put in a little bit of effort.
Yeah.
And try to understand why they're doing this. Try to understand the concept and not just remember it by the formula.
Yeah.
Then it becomes easier.
And then it also helps in the internships, I guess.
Yeah. Also.
Anything else?
Another thing is, at least when I went to classes, speak to the professors. Like you mentioned, some professors are really nice. Speak to them. If you have doubts, go ask them. If you have any questions about the domain, I didn't know what I wanted to pursue. So I went to my prof and I said, I don't know what to do. Can you give me advice? And he directed me to another prof. So they also have a lot of connections. They know a lot. So speak to the profs. That also really helps. Mail them if you want. Speak to them. That helps. Otherwise, when it comes to acads, it's more or less practice. So it's not ki I taught you this in class, apply this and get the answer. You have to combine a lot of different things. Just practice.
Practice.
Yeah.
Practice. Anything else that you think we should talk about? Maybe something I skipped over, missed. Yeah, I think it's that is more of a difficult question. But it's very difficult to saw something to come to mind.
I think one thing I'd also say is if you've been doing something in your school and you had to give it, you had to put a break because of 11th and 12th, restart it now. College is the best time to do it. Restart it now. You will not regret it. That is another thing that I will say. Just keep doing things that you enjoy.
Yeah.
It can be anything. If you are not able to figure out what you enjoy, do everything and then figure out what you enjoy. That is why I said join one of each and see what you like doing. Or if you have a senior that you really look up to, reach out to them and say, this is what I do or this is what I want to do. They will tell you maybe there's this club on campus that might interest you, this department. So that way, just keep trying different things. College is the best place you can do this.
College is the best place.
Yeah, just keep trying. Because college has something for every need. Whatever you're interested in, there's some club on campus that does it.
That's true.
Yeah. This is probably the only place also where you'll find. Otherwise, you'll have to go search for courses and stuff. Here, you have seniors who will guide you. They have their own experience and they've also been through the same journey. So that way, just try.
Just try.
Whatever you're interested in, just do it. Yeah.
And one of the things you mentioned throughout during the thing was that you wanted to, you would advise juniors wherever you could. And I think this is a form of that. Thank you so much for agreeing to do this. Thank you for your time. I think we can come to a close. Thank you again. Yeah.